everybody, I wanted to quick show you guys around my budget by paycheck Excel spreadsheet. This is what I use. I actually copy this exact spreadsheet into Google Docs and I use it every single month to take our monthly budget that we planned and then allocate it to each paycheck as we receive it. So if our paychecks look different than what I expect, or if I need to move some things around in the budget, this helps me to allocate our budget to the actual paychecks that we are receiving, because there's always going to be a timing difference. You have your monthly budget that you know you need to abide by based off of the numbers that you expect to receive. But if you don't allocate to the paychecks your budget, then you might be tempted to say, okay, I'm going to spend, we have a $300 grocery budget, so you spend $250 of that the first week, and then you have $50 for the rest of the month. So allocating your budget to paycheck almost breaks it down by week or 2-week period based off of how often you are paid. This breaks it down into smaller, more manageable chunks. Now, a lot of times, something I'd like to mention, a lot of people will just keep a buffer in their checking account as they get more advanced in the budgeting process. So I'm going to show you though how to break this monthly budget that you have made down into your paychecks in the spreadsheet that I use that is available in my Etsy shop as well as on my website. You can get it. I'm just going to show you around and show you how it works. Over here on the left, you have your monthly budget. You would just fill this in with your applicable budget line items. The envelopes are for items that I think are good for cash envelopes. You can move those around as well as you please. So each month, what you would do is you would say you expected to receive $4,000 like this dummy budget says. What you would do is you would break that down by paycheck. So I'm assuming this person is paid once a week. So if they are salary, let's say, and they're paid $1,000 a week. So if they have $1,000 every single week actually coming to their bank account, we're gonna go ahead and put those numbers at the top. This column over here that says left to budget is a formula that takes this net pay and this expected budget less all your paychecks. If you have a month, let's say, where for some reason you're paid, let's say you're paid hourly instead of salary, and for some reason you are paid $200 less. So we're going to make this $800 instead. So it's going to tell you that you have $200 left. So you're going to need to change this here as well, because you're going to have to adjust your budget, right? Because if you have a true $0 budget, your total net pay less your total expenses is going to equal 0. Well, if your pay is less than what you expected, that means you need to adjust your budget somewhere so that it totals 0. Otherwise, you're going to overspend. So what we do here is take this down. So now we have $0 here left to budget, and we have a negative $200 balance. So another thing about this spreadsheet is that it will be red when you have a negative number, and then it'll be green when you have a positive number. So you can easily see where you're over budget and where you're under budget. So you can see here on the left that we have left to budget for the month, all the amounts, because we haven't budgeted anything yet. So as you fill this in and you decide what expenses are going to come out of what paycheck, these numbers will automatically adjust. So let's say that you say your rent is going to be out of the first and third paycheck, and you're going to do $300. So you can see here it says, now I have $0 left to budget. And you can see my total expenses so far are $300. I have left to budget $500 in this column, and I've left to budget $700 in this column. So what you would do is you would go down every single line item and allocate it to a paycheck. And then whatever you use to track your budget, you need to make sure that you have those amounts in that tracker, or you have that set up that way. For your first paycheck, let's look at a cash envelope for groceries. Let's say you're gonna take out $100 for groceries. So what you would do is you would take that $100, and if you have a cash envelope, you would simply do an ATM withdrawal and put it in your cash envelope. So you just need to make sure that all these totals down here after you're all finished equal 0. And then here at the bottom, we have a place to track sinking funds. So this is formulated so that it pulls these sinking funds, and then also the amounts that you budget. And then you can keep a running balance month to month of your sinking funds. So you have a beginning balance, what you added, and then you have an ending balance, or what you withdrew. And then you have a goal here and how much you have left to go before you hit your goal. And then here is a place you can keep bills that are due, so you can simply put them in there and then decide what check you're going to take them out of. Because if your electric bill, if you aren't a month ahead on your bills, if your electric bill, let's say, is due on the 20th, well, you know that it can't come out of the 4th check. You can't budget for that out of your 4th paycheck. You need to budget out of your 1st, 2nd, or 3rd. So the timing is something that plays into how you allocate your budget to your paychecks. because otherwise you run the risk of being overdrawn if you don't have excess in your checking account. So it's important to carefully plan. So this is what I do every single month. I take our monthly budget, which honestly does not change that much month to month. So it's usually simply a copy and a paste, adjust a few different amounts, and then I will budget all them out here. Even though we have a month's worth of expenses already in our checking account and we have a fully funded emergency fund, I carefully break our budget down by week, by paycheck. Doing things this way, it makes it easier for me to stick to our total monthly budget. Because if I just say, okay, I have $500 to spend this month for groceries, I'm probably not going to stay on budget because that's just my personality. So if I break it down by a week, then I do better. I budget $75 a week. So I know that if I go over a certain week, it's not a big deal because I can still stick to my total monthly budget, but breaking it down into smaller, more manageable amounts is just easier for me, and that is how I work. So if this is how you work as well, and if this is something that you would potentially like to have, like I said, you can find this in my Etsy shop or on my blog on my product page. So these are the key features of the spreadsheet. There's lots of formulas, so you don't really have to do a whole lot. And it's easy to copy and paste from month to month if you want to be able to look back at your budgets over the year. So hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have any questions.